manifesting the beautiful names of Allah in your action. So Allah Ar-Rahim, Allah Al-Ghafur, and when you are doing these things, you are trying like to show the same traits, okay, that Allah Subhanahu wa Taala has and the absolute at the absolute level, okay, and we are trying like to tap from that, okay, and make it part of our daily life. But when, as you are saying, like if the sacrifice becomes really like just like to throw these, I mean, and as if it is done for itself. This is the problem, that yes, unfortunately it is a tool, okay, right, to reach a higher end, how to make the life of people better. Right. You see, فَكُلُوا مِنْهَا وَأَطْعِمُوا الْقَانِعَ وَالْمُعْتَرَّ. So the al-mu'tar is really the poor. You see, I mean, so the whole idea is really like to make this Eid, I mean, available to everybody, and but really like to become, I mean, an end by itself, okay, without understanding why it is being done, okay. This is why, I mean, like we are losing the spirit of it, and we are not, unfortunately, like taking a good advantage of something of that nature. And so no question how this should be organized, and this becomes a different question, okay, that it requires really especially that the population has increased, the number of pilgrims have increased tremendously. What should we be doing, okay? And we have to remember that it's not obligatory. You see, I mean, like, and sometimes I see people like as if they, or if they are not, okay, there are other things that you can do. Okay, so if that is going really like to create more problems, no, probably it's better like to channel, I mean, your good deeds towards other things to make the life of the people better. But again, this is a different, I mean, a topic that requires really like, I mean, examination at levels higher than us, I mean, as individuals, okay? But it has to be raised and discussed, okay, in different circles to make people aware, okay, and of this issue, and how we need really like, unfortunately, we have so many, I mean, occasions, okay, that can be taken advantage to improve our situation, and unfortunately we miss these opportunities, and we focus really on the transaction. You see, we need to transform these to make them visionary, based on a vision. Where do you want to reach? What do you want to achieve? You see, and then it becomes very, I mean, a very important tool to achieve really higher objectives. Wallahu ta'ala alam.
But Dr. Walid,
yes,
the one of the main objective of this Eid al-Adha is that to be practicing Ibrahim alayhi salam's sunnah, or his vision. What level you need to be practice oneness of Allah. Is it not all about establishing your iman to a level of his, how to be worshipping Allah in oneness, how strictly, and what you have to sacrifice in order to be achieving it?
You see, I think, again, because the story of Ibrahim alayhi salam, is unfortunately is not very well understood. Okay, and but when we really explore that that important incident, okay, we will find that the first thing is really to liberate the human being. The human being is not offered as a sacrifice, because this is what was being done in the days of Ibrahim and before him, alayhi salam. And how to change this idea, it has to come through someone of a high caliber like Ibrahim alayhi salam. Ibrahim alayhi salam came to the realization that this universe, okay, belongs to its creator, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when he refused any other thing to be his Lord or his creator, because he found them unable to do any of that. And there's someone beyond the star and beyond the sun and beyond the moon, okay, but there is one who created all these objects, I mean, in this universe, including himself. And so, but who is Allah? So he realized his presence, but this God has also character, it has traits. You see, has names and that will define him to us. And so one important thing is that this God does not need the flesh and the blood. It's not like what you are not like saying, okay, I don't want this idol, and I will put instead of it Allah. The idea is far beyond this. You see what I mean? Like, if you continue to deal with Allah the same way you were dealing with the idols, you have not, I mean, achieved anything. You are still within the same paradigm. The new paradigm that Ibrahim alayhi salam brought is that I am asking you to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who does not need anything from the human being. And on the contrary, he is ready to offer to the human being everything that the human being needs. And the most important is the dignity and the liberty of this human being, not to be offered, okay, like what was being practiced at that time. And the verse in Quran is very clear. وَفَدَيْنَاهُ. The verb فَدَيْنَا is to ransom. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about himself in the plural, that we Allah, we ransom the human being with the best, I mean, a thing that he deserves. The highest level in this life is offered to the human being, and the human being is not offered to anybody, not even to Allah. You see, this is the greatest really understanding of the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let me tell you, when Musa alayhi salam, okay, brought his message to his people, and he left them for some, what did they do?
They made a calf.
Yeah. Is that right? Made the calf is 5 or 4 or 3 or 1?
1.
It was 1. So you call this tawheed? You see, I mean, so tawheed is not 1. It's beyond, I mean, the number. Okay, yeah. It's how to see Allah with all his beautiful names united in him. So he is Allah, but he is Al-Ghafur, Al-Rahim, Al-Qawi, Al-Aziz, Al-Jabbar, Al-Mutakabbir, Al-Muhaymin. You see, all these, at least we know 99 names, at least. This is Allah. Who is Allah? Give me something that has all these qualities and united in Him. This is why we say قُلْ هُوَ Allahu Ahad. He is one in his totality, because all these names are not different gods. They are belong to the same God.
You know, there's another aspect to this, and we don't very seldom we talk about this. This episode, as in the Bible, is described very differently. You know, they have a very different view about Ibrahim. The Ibrahim that they portray is a man who did not tell his son. Of course, they say Isaac. They didn't tell him until he took him to the altar, and then he told him. So they're saying that he tricked him. He tricked his son.
I mean,
but in the Quran,
it's even more than that. I mean, I don't want to get into honesty into all this, but I think, I mean, the most important thing, Brother Noor, is how to this story restored the humanness to the human being. You see, and the dignity. That this human being is dignified. And one of the meanings of ihram, what does it ihram means? It's like you are in a sanctuary. So you have to respect life and the sanctity of life. If ihram does not make this meaning closer to our comprehension, is it's like two pieces of clothes? You see, I mean, this is the point that I am trying to make. Like, okay, we should not stop at the appearances. These appearances just to make things closer to our understanding.
And
I have been for years, for over, honestly, for over 25 years. Every year we talk about Al-Hajj, and we talk about all these meanings, about even the words that are really selected, okay, to design or to assign these different rituals. It's amazing. But we have come so far, and we just cling really like to the appearances, okay? And we forgot really the meaning behind them. And this is why we are not benefiting. Exactly. Otherwise, how I can see Hajj, through Hajj, I can see my life? How? As if I am really fabricating things? No. But if we go and dissect, I mean, these rituals, you will see the same way we dissected so many times, really like our own prayer or fasting, and we reached so many beautiful meanings that are helpful for us like to order and really like to help us lead this life going forward. Wallahu ta'ala alam.
Yeah, I think. Sorry, thank you. Yeah, we are ready. We've been recording and live already.
Okay,
thank you
good.
for this. Is really good discussion. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Inshallah, we'll continue our discussion of Surah Al-Qasas, and again, as you noticed, like the story of Ibrahim, of Musa alayhi salam, and his the way he was facing all the challenges and the system of power of the Pharaoh and his entourage. We have seen that this surah, through the a narration of a previous experience of a major prophet like Musa alayhi salam, and sharing this experience with the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, and the believers at the time in Mecca, they were in great need, okay, of these important historical accounts that will strengthen their belief, okay, and that this Quran is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we saw in the middle of the surah how the Quran is telling the Prophet, you were not there. We are telling you all this. Okay? If it were not for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to capture all these incidents for the Prophet, it will take, probably the Prophet will leave this life without really have the chance really even to know what happened, I mean, before. But these historical accounts will continue to be relevant, okay, to the life of the Prophet and all the generations who come after him, okay, and they see in that story, okay, and this is why it started that although it's answered the questions coming from different sides, but the main thing or the main audience was really the believers, لِقَوْمٍ يُؤْمِنُونَ. So because I mean they need this, they need to know about this really experience. Before we go to the last part, I think just verses 5 and 6, because really they also summarize, okay, and the introduction, okay, what was the problem? The problem was really the corruption of the Pharaoh and his entourage, including Haman. But Quran is saying from the beginning, okay, giving us the outcome of this conflict between Musa and the children of Israel and the Pharaoh and his entourage. وَنُرِيدُ أَن نَمُنَّ عَلَى الَّذِينَ اسْتُضْعِفُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to grant those who were weakened in that place, in that part of the earth, okay, in Egypt, okay. We want to bestow on them our favors. After they were living a life of humiliation and torture, okay, killing and pushing them into doing things that will destroy their own communities. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying we will change things upside down, and those who were weak now, they are the leaders. وَنَجْعَلَهُمْ أَئِمَّةً وَنَجْعَلَهُمُ الْوَارِثِينَ. They will inherit, okay, that place or this ability to rule, okay. وَنُمَكِّنَ لَهُمْ فِي الْأَرْضِ. And they become really make their situation solid, okay, and strong, and that wherever they are on this earth. وَنُمَكِّنَ لَهُمْ فِي الْأَرْضِ وَنُرِيَ فِرْعَوْنَ وَهَامَانَ وَجُنُودَهُمَا مِنْهُمْ مَا كَانُوا يَحْذَرُونَ. So and they will see what they were really concerned about, and they were really trying to avoid. And remember that they have this idea that someone will arise from the people, from the children of Israel, okay, and they will lead them into this situation. And in fact, this is what really happened, despite all what the Pharaoh and his entourage did, and they tried everything to prevent this from happening. But we know that this is something that they could not really avert, and the outcome was really in favor of Musa and his people, and he was able really like to save them and take them to a safe place away from the Pharaoh, and to continue their life. I mean, in a dignified, really way. If we move into this last part of the surah, we see the story of Qarun. And Qarun, as Quran is telling us, he belongs to the people of Musa. Inna Qaruna kana min qawmi Musa. But and here I want really you to see the symmetry between the first section that we discussed and the last section that we are going to discuss. And we will see, like in the first part, at the beginning, we see the Pharaoh and Haman, but there is a third component of that system of power, which is the financial component, represented by Qarun. And Qarun was mentioned at the end to complement, okay, or to in a symmetrical way. But if you go into some, I will make you aware of a few things in that section that again support that it is really symmetrical to the first part. When Quran said in verse number number 83, تلك الدار الآخرة نجعلها للذين لا يريدون علوا في الأرض ولا فسادا. Can you highlight علوا and فسادا? I mean, simply the verse is saying, and this comes after Quran tells us about about Qarun and what and his encounter with his people, and in that this verse is telling us about that the outcome not only in this life was in favor of al-muttaqin, but also that the next life will not be for those who were really behaving with arrogance, and who are really seeking corruption on this earth. عُلُوًّا وَلَا فَسَادًا. If you recall from in the first section, the verse said, إِنَّ فِرْعَوْنَ عَلَى هي عُلُوًّا عَلَى في الأرض وجعل أهلها شيعا يستضعف طائفة منهم يذبح أبناءهم ويستحيي نساءهم إنه كان من المفسدين فسادا. You see, so it's the same language, okay? So this is what they were doing, and this is why they were, I mean, basically that led to their destruction in this life. And definitely these people they will not get anything in the hereafter, okay, because of the same problem. علوا في الأرض وفسادا. Okay, so these are the major reasons behind really destruction. Okay, and towards the end of the surah, we will see the same way the surah starts talking about Quran, Tasim Mim, Tilka Ayatul Kitab al-Mubin. We will see the last verses really talking about Al-Quran. وما كنت ترجو أن يلقى إليك الكتاب إلا رحمة من ربك. You see, so the and إن الذي فرض عليك القرآن. Quran was imposed on Muhammad alayhi salatu wassalam. He has nothing to do with it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed it to him. Okay, and make everything in it obligatory on him. Fard. Okay, إن الذي فرض عليك القرآن. So in other words, do not. I told you all these stories, and I am showing you that if you follow my teachings and my instructions, okay, you will have a better outcome. Even if, I mean, the situation may look to you very dire and really very difficult. It was the same for Musa alayhi salam. It was the same for Ibrahim. It is the same for, I mean, all the prophets and messengers had to face situations to the point that they were very close, like to give up, but because of their patience or patient perseverance, they were able really like to stand up to these challenges, and they really came out really victorious. So inna qaruna kana min qawmi Musa. And here there is very important message I can see, is that the idea is not racial, it's not ethnic. It's not like children of Israel versus the people of Egypt, or the original the native people of Egypt. It is about we are talking here about two different paradigms. Okay, the paradigm of the Pharaoh that continues to infect and infest, okay, the systems that we see before our own eyes, okay, and we have in juxtaposition to it the paradigm of justice, the paradigm of mercy, the paradigm of forgiveness. You see, these are two diametrically opposite paradigms, and people are really classified according to these paradigms. So although Qarun ethnically belongs to the people, to the children of Israel, to the people of Musa, but he was a major ally of the system of power of the Pharaoh. Is that right? Now, yes. Can you think about an example, an opposite example, someone from from the people of the Pharaoh who accepted really the message of Musa alayhi salam?
The magicians.
before even the magicians. Yes, the magicians really is a very good example.
His wife.
His wife, but this came later. But I'm talking about in the early time. Remember in Surah Ghafir, وَقَالَ رَجُلٌ مُؤْمِنٌ مِنْ آلِ فِرْعَوْنَ يَكْتُمُ إِيمَانَهُ أَتَقْتُلُونَ رَجُلًا أَنْ يَقُولَ رَبِّيَ اللَّهُ. You see, it's very clear. وَقَالَ رَجُلٌ مُؤْمِنٌ مِنْ آلِ فِرْعَوْنَ. Here قارون من قوم موسى. You see, so these people are not classified according to their racial or ethnic background, but they are classified according to to which paradigm they really belong. Qarun belonged really like to the paradigm of the Pharaoh, the system of injustice, the system of power and suppression and discrimination, while that believer who ethnically belonged to the family of the Pharaoh was really raising a very important question without really fear. How come you kill someone just because he believed in Allah? أَتَقْتُلُونَ رَجُلًا أَنْ يَقُولَ رَبِّيَ اللَّهُ. What? I mean, where is the dignity of the human being? Where is really the freedom of the human being to make his or her own choices in this life? And so, and now we see the same problem. People are being really like, judged according to what they believe in, and they sometimes they are persecuted because really of that, and executed because of that. And so again, my dear brothers and sisters, we are not really talking about, again, ethnicities or races, but we are talking about what inform, okay, the actions of the people in this life. What paradigm, what pattern of thinking is behind really their actions? And this is very, very, very important. And I see, and the Quran is not haphazardly. He's not talking to us like just like a piece of history that Qarun belonged to the people of Musa. He was telling us, I mean, despite the fact that he is from the same ethnically and racially from the same group, and he was raised among them, and he knows them, they know him, but he basically took a direction in his life totally different from the direction of Musa alayhi salam. And Quran is saying, فَبَغَى عَلَيْهِمْ. In his actions, he showed aggression towards his own people. And long time ago, the Arabs in their poetry said it and make it very clear, وَظُلْمُ ذَوِي الْقُرْبَى أَشَدُّ مَضَادَةً. I mean, zulm in general is bad, but the worst form of it when it comes from someone who is close to you or a relative of you. Or you see what I mean? Like it becomes really like magnified. Okay, and so Qarun was doing the same thing. All against his own people, he showed aggression, baghi. He went beyond the limits. Okay, treated them with arrogance, treated them with show off, and as we will see, why? Just because he was really wealthy. Okay, and how Quran described his وَآتَيْنَاهُ مِنَ الْكُنُوزِ مَا إِنَّ مَفَاتِحَهُ لَتَنُوءُ بِالْعُصْبَةِ أُولِي الْقُوَّةِ. He was given آتَيْنَاهُ. This is not from you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you that type of sustenance, that rizq. وَآتَيْنَاهُ, treasures. Okay, Quran is not telling us about how the treasures were heavy. The keys for these treasures, okay, they need people, strong people, to carry them. So let alone the treasures themselves, or these huge boxes, okay, that contain all like his wealth. And as you can, and definitely most likely it was in the form of gold and silver, okay. لتنوء بالعصبة أولي القوة إذ قال له قومه لا تفرح إن الله لا يحب الفرحين. What? لا تفرح, don't be happy? Is happiness, I mean, like or joy something wrong? My dear brothers and sisters, I think you by now you understand it very well, that this book, Quran, is the book of direction, wujha. Okay, its main objective is to give the human being, to guide the human being, humankind, hudan linnas, to guide the human race, okay, to the right direction. And that direction is needed not only in our actions, but even to our own emotions. You see, even the feeling of joy, okay, should be directed. If it is directed towards really things of this life that will really divert us from the main concerns of in this life, or the higher objectives in this life, definitely this type of a joy Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not like. Inna Allah la yuhibbul farihin. But we see in other places in Quran, قُلْ بِفَضْلِ اللَّهِ وَبِرَحْمَتِهِ فَبِذَلِكَ فَلْيَفْرَحُوا. No, you have to show your joy, but be joyful about the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, through which you were given all these favors in this life. So Qarun, instead of being happy about what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has bestowed on him, all these favors and all these bounties, he directed his happiness towards the things themselves, to the point, as Quran said, Alhaakum at-takathur. You see, when you accumulate and your life becomes really just to accumulate wealth, okay, jama'a malan wa addada, okay, then it will divert you. Alhaakum at-takathur, divert you from the higher objectives of this life. Why? Then you don't see, or you become blinded of the objective of having these things in your hands. Instead of being a tool to enjoy and make others around you enjoy, you use them to show arrogance, for show off, for to show aggression, baghi, you see, then definitely this is not the joy that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala likes. This is why they said, La tafrah, inna Allah la yuhibbu al-farihin. So even we have to be careful, even about our own emotions. And we have to ask ourselves what direction we are giving to our own emotions, that nobody knows about them except Allah and you.
Can I interject just for a second? Connect. I was trying to connect this to what we were talking about beginning of the session about Surah, Eid al-Adha.
Yes.
How it became now, not just it became just for tafree, right? It just became like enjoyment for showing off their accumulated stuff. Like you can buy bigger cow, you can buy the most healthy goat to show off to your neighbors and your people. You're parading them around before you kill them, right? It's just that has become like that's what you were talking about. We have lost the true meaning of Hajj and Eid al-Adha just for the worldly thing, right? For tafree, becoming like as a concept for us to just enjoy what we have accumulated and show off to. But this is far removed from the actual teaching of what Hajj and everything is meant.
Exactly. And so, subhanallah, I mean, no question that the idea of Eid is really, I always start really every khutbah about Eid that this is a day of joy. No question about it. But see the joy that comes after you have achieved something in this life. You see what I mean? And take for example, I would say, like in the recent years, the idea of celebrating birthdays, become a common thing. It's a tradition, and the children loves it, even adults like it, and again, for me, I don't see any problem with it. But if we start to give even that type of celebration a different meaning, wallahi, one time I was talking to one of my students. Now she is a highly achieving, really, doctor in one of the Chicago suburbs. But we have a discussion at one time, and I was telling her about what I like to see, that to celebrate, especially for our children, to celebrate their achievements. I mean, adding 1 year, this is, I mean, it's not your, this is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you. Yeah, that's fine. To celebrate that, I have no problem. But imagine that our children are raised to really celebrating their achievements. And we want, I mean, after this discussion, like a few days later, she came to me and said, she said, Dr. Khayr, I thought about this discussion that we had. She told me, and alhamdulillah, she came from a very wealthy family, very well-to-do family and everything. She said, I have been really celebrating my birthday all these years, and I can throw the best party, not only to me, but even for the birthdays of my friends, close friends. But after this discussion, I want really like to celebrate my own achievements. In other words, you give even something like that. Again, don't misunderstand me. Don't say that, oh, Dr. Khayr is no. I am not against it. Believe me, but I am really trying to remind myself and others what type of direction you want to give to your actions, and what direction you need to give to your own emotions. And believe me, if we want to summarize Quran like in one word, we can say it is the guidance for direction. Do you think that if I go to treat a patient, I take the Quran with me to tell me how to treat a patient? No. Quran doesn't tell you about actions, the direction of your actions. Even your good deeds, make sure that you are giving them the right direction. Because sometimes even good deeds can be for show off. And we always, I mean, like, quote, I mean, this verse from Quran, فَوَيْلٌ لِلْمُصَلِّينَ. Salat is a good thing. It's not a crime if you pray. But Quran is saying sometimes prayer may become a reason for punishment. Why? If it is done for show off, if it does not make you a better human being, thinking about those who need your help and they are in need of that help. الذين هم عن صلاتهم ساهون الذين هم يراءون ويمنعون الماعون. You see that even good deeds require a direction. If we change the direction of our own prayer and we become heedless of its objectives, instead of helping others to show off, or does not make us good people to think about others, we have to question our own prayer. Another important lesson: وَابْتَغِ فِيمَا آتَاكَ اللَّهُ الدَّارَ الْآخِرَةَ وَلَا تَنْسَ نَصِيبَكَ مِنَ الدُّنْيَا. Again, about direction, my dear brothers and sisters. What direction you are giving to your life here? Quran is not saying that this life is bad. No, we are making, or we have the potential to make it bad. When, again, it diverts us from the bigger objectives of why we are here in this life. When we do not, when it becomes an end by itself, but if it remains a tool that we give it the right direction, it will prepare us for the next life. Because this life is a creation from Allah, and also the next life is another creation. And with the creation, always there is purpose. There is no creation without purpose. And we know this from our human, experience. Have you seen anybody discovered a new tool without an objective? In fact, the name of that tool is taken from its highest objective. You see? And the Arabic language is probably very clear. Okay, I mean the car in Arabic sayyara, because the car has so many things, but its main objective is for transportation. It will, instead of walking on your feet, it will take you from one place to another. Is that right? Mm-hmm. So it took its name from its objective. Ta'ira. Yes, the aeroplane has so many things, but it takes its name from the highest objective. It's really like to move. I mean, flying. Is that right? Mm-hmm. So which means that each tool created, invented in this life is associated with an objective, a purpose, and usually the name is taken from the purpose. So see the balance. وابتغ فيما آتاك الله الدار الآخرة ولا تنس نصيبك من الدنيا. Imam Ali radiallahu anhu, from that, if you like, from this meaning, he had his saying that so beautiful. He said, live your life as if you, or work for this life as if you are living forever. So you have to do the best you can, but also work for your next life, for al-akhirah, as if you are going to die tomorrow. See how much you have to do.
Yeah.
So the idea is about direction. What direction we are giving to our life. And then this is then you are not forgetting about it. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't want us to forget about this life, because this life is the place for investment for the next life. In a balanced way. In other words, the presence of the hereafter in this life becomes equal to the presence of this life in the hereafter. You see, because what you see in the hereafter is a reflection of what we have done here. And the presence of the al-akhirah in this life that we live now, no question that it molds our actions. It gives them their form and their direction. وَأَحْسِنْ كَمَا أَحْسَنَ اللَّهُ إِلَيْكَ. Wow, you can see that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks us to do the things that He already doing. He is treating us with ihsan. And so you have to treat others around you with ihsan. وَأَحْسِنْ كَمَا أَحْسَنَ اللَّهُ إِلَيْكَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you in a certain, give you like wealth or knowledge or a certain type of akhlaq. Don't keep it to yourself. Use it to share with others. وأحسن كما أحسن الله إليك ولا تبغي الفساد في الأرض إن الله لا يحب المفسدين. Again, this is the problem of the Pharaoh, Haman, and Qarun. Their problem is corruption, spreading mischief, from torturing, discrimination, to torturing, to executing, persecuting. I mean, all types of corruption. إن الله لا يحب المفسدين. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not like those whose corruption has become part of them. What was his reaction? قال إنما أوتيته على علم عندي. I know everything you are talking about. Okay? And but unfortunately, this is not the right. I mean, this knowledge that is not really translated into action. It is not performative. Yes, he probably knows. Like, I mean, simple example, someone may know that all the side effects of smoking, yet he or she may still be smoking. So what type? Yes, they know all the things that may result from smoking, yet they insist. the idea is really like, this is not the knowledge that Quran is really talking about. And when Quran the same way talks about jahl or ignorance, it does not mean lack of knowledge. Today, there is a science that teach people how to be ignorant. You see, I mean, like, or to behave as if they don't know. وَأَضَلَّهُ اللَّهُ عَلَى عِلْمٍ. Despite they have the knowledge, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make them go astray because they decided to go astray despite the knowledge they have. And Qarun is not an exception. I mean, with all this wealth, he is not really an ordinary person. I'm sure he was a very intelligent person. You cannot deny that. But unfortunately, he was blinded, okay, to really he took the wrong direction, and so all his knowledge. So he behaved despite his knowledge as if he is really ignorant. أَوَلَمْ يَعْلَمْ أَنَّ اللَّهَ قَدْ أَهْلَكَ مِنْ قَبْلِهِ مِنَ الْقُرُونِ مَنْ هُوَ أَشَدُّ مِنْهُ قُوَّةً وَأَكْثَرُ جَمْعًا. Here you can see his blind spot. That he did not see, or he did not like pay attention to what happened. He did not learn. He did not take the ibrah, the lesson from what happened to people like who had a similar status. They were strong, they have accumulated wealth. وَلَا يُسْأَلُ عَنْ ذُنُوبِهِمُ الْمُجْرِمُونَ. Oh, this is very beautiful. If you look at it, I mean, on the face of it, you say, well, I mean, literally, okay, those who are guilty of their crime, al-mujrimun, they are not asked about their sins or bad deeds. But this is really not really true. But here it means that they don't have the time to be asked why they are doing this, because they will see their punishment coming like immediately and very quickly, to the point that they don't even being asked about, because they know there is no need to ask or question them about what they are doing, because they know that they are doing things that make them guilty of their crime. Quran is telling us that this is a crime. These corruptions or different forms of corruption
Does it
is a
also
crime.
means?
I'm sorry?
I said, does it also means that they won't be given a chance?
Yeah,
to
exactly.
think,
Exactly, this is what it means.
it'll be all of a sudden, and they'll be taken away.
They have exactly. They don't. They are not given the chance even to be questioned about. Usually you question the criminal. Is that right? Like to make sure that. But these people, they know they were given a chance. So many chances to change their direction. But they reach a point that they will see the outcome of their actions, and very quickly, as you said, Brother Yusuf, and they are not even given any more chance. even to be asked why you are doing this or that, because time, I mean, they lost even that opportunity because they were given so many opportunities before.
Brother Walid, I'd like
Yes.
to ask at this time, okay, could it also mean that Allah doesn't need to hear from them because He knows what they have done, right? You know?
Exactly. But you see, the point is, I mean, like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is al-adl. Okay.
Yes.
And all, in order really like to criminalize someone or to indict someone, you have to ask them, I mean, why did you do that? Or I mean, but unfortunately, these criminals, they were given so many chances to change their direction, to the point that when the time comes like to be punished, they did not given any chance. Definitely Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows about but questioning them is really part of their due process, as we call it. But they have been given the chance, okay, to change and to make changes. But unfortunately, their crime is so evident that there is no really reason, even really like, because it has reached really it became very flagrant, okay, and there is nothing really like no more. And again, it is there is a threat here, okay. They are threatened that if you do not change, you may the outcome may come so quickly that you don't even have time even to be asked about it.
Brother Walid, I'd like to make just a couple of comments at this time.
Yeah.
These events happened hundreds of years ago, sometimes thousands of years ago.
Thousands,
right?
yes.
But these, like you said, that these are ibrah for, as Allah Himself says, is for the liqawmi, either yuqinun or yu'minun, or so the three things, okay? Yaqilun, yu'minun, and yuqinun. Understood. The problem is the disbelievers and the other, they're not reading the Quran, right? But this is what's going on, you know, because these events, as I say, happened thousands of years ago. And in the history of human existence, there are many pharaohs, there are many Qarun, there are many Hamans, you know.
Yes.
They came and went. The tyrants, the oppressors who oppressed the weakest, they existed for a while, and like scumbags, they disappeared, okay? So if I extrapolate the progression of these events in the history of times, history will repeat itself. So these are the scumbags that we see now, causing corruption, oppression, and all that. Their time will expire, and Allah only knows when. There will be history, right? And that's the lesson that that I take from here, that we, the believers, we had this book as a guide. Haza hudan wa rahmatul lil mu'minin, correct?
Yes.
So we need to take the solace, the consolation,
Yes.
the guidance that Allah is giving, not to despair, because these people, be patient.
Yes.
Their time will expire. Okay?
Exactly. Right. And again, as we said, like from the beginning, the surah, like summarized, the whole experience of Musa alayhi salam with the Pharaoh. Again, we read these verses in a few minutes, but really these are events happened over years, okay? And you can tell that what was the level of patience these people needed to have in order to endure, okay, what was really happening. But as you are saying, again, the whole idea that Quran shares with us or captures for us these events, okay, is really like to extract the lessons from them, so they become really a source of consolation, the same way for the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, because again, it is easy really to talk about it or to read about it, but to experience, okay, or to feel like what they experienced, then you can, to the best of our ability, to empathize, I mean, with what was going on, okay, you can understand, okay, how much they needed, okay, like these stories to tell them, okay, do not go into despair, okay, victory is coming, but it is not going to happen spontaneously. I want really like to make a comment on this idea of history repeats itself. In fact, history does not repeat itself. We repeat history. In other words, we do the same thing that would lead really to the same outcome. And I like this very recently. A writer put it very beautifully. He said that it's instead of using the idea of history repeats itself, we can say that these events really rhyme with each other. You see, like when you see the experience of Musa alayhi salam, it rhymes really with the experience of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and it rhymes with what is happening really at different really times. And when you analyze these events, you see that, okay, it is the outcomes came as the result of the actions that again rhymed over time and become repeated, okay, because really history is not a person, okay, but again, I mean, I think we all use it in a metaphorical way, okay, that history repeats itself, but in fact the humans are really, in other words, we need to again emphasize the human agency. The human being has the capacity to change the situation, okay, and do not expect better outcome without making these changes. And there is nothing stronger than what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us, that I can change these things anytime. And in no time I can change, but this is not my scheme, it's not my plan. My plan is to show that this human being is capable of making that a change. And what happened to Musa and his people, I mean, one may that it looks like a miracle, but no, it is really there. They have to act. They have to prepare themselves. They have to work hard. To have to be patient. I mean, all these things that will make really a difference in our life. And so the human agency again. Yes.
So I want to get to this next ayah really quick, and then I think it kind of aligns with what we were talking about right now, like with the Harun. The Harun, he has been admired. Like this is the part that I think is prevalent. Like even though we might be saying that we are Muslims, we follow the rule of Quran, this admiration of this person who is fortunate by Allah, unfortunately, like, you know, he has all this fortune. People in the world admire them for their power and their, you know, wealth. Like we have examples in this world, Elon Musk and Trump. Muslim people admire them. I just see mind-boggling to me for this admiration. They want to be, they want to emulate like those people, right? I think that's the surah is talking about. Like that's even worse than what the person is doing. It's creating this
Yes, yes,
facade for
yes.
all us to kind of say, oh, look up to me and be like me. Which people are saying, well, he's a bad guy, but look at him, how rich he is, right? People not looking at all the worst thing they have done in the world. They're just measuring back what they have accumulated. And that's what I think the issue we see facing this world right now. We admire the people who have all this accumulation of wealth and power instead of what the good deed they have done for the world. That's the disconnect from the previous
Yeah,
verse to
yeah,
this.
yeah, and I mean, even sometimes really the names that and the words, the nomenclature. Okay, you know that, like, take for example these, I mean, shows like about like people who are like in different types of arts and um, like singing or playing. What do they call these shows?
Idols.
Idols. Idols. I mean, again, I am. You know me. I mean, I am not against really these. These are part of our life, and again, the idea to give them that type of direction, as you are saying, and Subhanallah. I mean, the next verse is talking about that, like فخرج على قومه في زينته. Qarun came out in his like ornamentation and adoration, and or the people start put all the people in adoration because of that. But look how the people reacted, as you were saying, brother Shakil. قال الذين يريدون الحياة الدنيا. You see, those who made this life as their end point, not as a tool. You see, as an end point by itself. Okay, an end by itself. Definitely, they would say, "I wish I have the same thing like him." You see, I mean, so the idea, but instead of saying, "Oh, I wish I have this, and I can give it a different direction," you see, I wish I can have this type of knowledge, and then I can do this and that. You see, but to look at these appearances and divert us from the higher concerns in this life, the higher objectives, and then limit ourselves. Okay, oh, I wish I have all this. My dad used to tell us, okay, he would say, listen, I mean, like, no matter how much you accumulate in this life, you cannot put on yourself 2 suits. You can have only 1 suit on you. You cannot drive 2 cars at the same time. You can drive only 1 car. No matter how expensive it is, okay, but you cannot have more. You see, and so what do you want? You want like to have breakfast in Chicago and lunch in London, and then you have like dinner in Paris. You can. I mean, it's not. But so what? Exactly. You see what I mean? I mean, again, we are not against enjoying really this life, but the idea, give direction for your actions. And believe me, when you put for yourself a different objectives, these things become too little. You see, they will not really like amaze you anymore. You say, so what? Okay. I'm feeling that joy without having all this, or I can have more joy than them. You see what I mean? So it is really the idea to look at this idea, or to seek, okay, that happiness and the joy, okay, regardless of the means. This is a big problem. It's like when our children really talk all the time about fun. We want fun. We want fun. Make them fun. I mean, build this for them. Do this for them because they want fun. I am not against fun, but even fun, we need to give it a direction. You see, and we have to be creative. We have to be, I mean, to dig deeper and deeper. And it's the most difficult thing is really like even something like fun to give it a good direction. But it is possible. But we do not think. And then we put them in between two fires. Either they have fun without direction or no fun at all. And they live their life wishing that they have what other children have. You see where is the problem? And again, this middle or this being in the median, okay, has not been achieved, unfortunately. And so they say the same thing. يا ليت لنا مثل ما أوتي قارون. I wish we have what Qarun has. إنه لذو حظ عظيم. Oh, he has given a big portion. You see, see the people who have, you see, Quran is saying, see the knowledge of Qarun that it was not translated into action. I will show you what when knowledge is given the right direction. قال الذين أوتوا العلم ويلك. They know, these people have the knowledge of what will happen to you if your objectives become become dwarfed. And really, like, I mean, you see, limited to these appearances and the world of things, and then you become used by these things rather than these things, and for your or working for you. You start working for them. وقال الذين أوتوا العلم ويلكم. ويلكم is like be aware. I am warning you. Okay, ويلكم. I'm warning you, because if you continue this, that will lead you to destruction, to suffering. ويلكم ثواب الله خير لمن آمن وعمل صالحا. So you can have it, but give it the right direction. And you can do so many good things with this wealth. Even without this wealth, you feel inside that you are wealthy. Not through the world of things. ولا يلقاها إلا الصابرون. Okay, nothing like patience. Patience is not, again, accepting your situation. Let us say accepting, God forbid, poverty or joblessness, or no, it is really like working hard while being patient while you are working hard to change your situation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will never put those who experience and practice sabr this way, we will not put them down at all. Because, and it is amazing, my dear brothers and sisters, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward, believe me, mostly for our patience. No matter how the good deeds we are doing, when they are put against sabr, you will see sabr has really more reward. Let me show you this. And it is amazing. Only last Ramadan, I came to realize this. Can you go to Surah Al-Furqan number 25? Verses that you have heard a lot at the end of the surah, describing Ibadur Rahman. We're starting from Ibadur Rahman 62. 62. I mean, the Quran, Ibadur Rahman is an advanced group or moral group or moral class in the society. So advanced. يمشون على الأرض هونا وإذا خاطبهم They are so, I mean, polite people of high quality, morally, spiritually. يبيتون لربهم سجدا وقياما, making istighfar. They don't make shirk, they do not kill, they do not practice adultery. I mean, all these things. وَالَّذِينَ لَا يَشْهَدُونَ الزُّورَ, they don't really give false testimonies. They don't really pay attention to these little things. They always go above them. مَرُّوا بِاللَّغْوِ مَرُّوا كِرَامًا, they are highly dignified. But look at one Quran in verse number 75. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talked about the reward they got because of all this. You know how I realized this? I was reading this verse in one of during Taraweeh, this last Ramadan, and I said أولئك يجزون الغرفة and forgot to say بما صبروا, and that I missed that part, that phrase بما صبروا. And then it really hit me. If it were not for that mistake I made, I did not really realize it. Believe me. And then I realized that all this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving them the reward bima sabaru, because of their patience. He did not say I am giving them because their prayer or they're not doing these good things and these. Bima sabaru. Ulaika yujzawna, they are given Jannah because of their patience. Can you imagine? How many verses? 63, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 verses talking about them, an advanced moral class in the society. To tell us in verse number 15 that they will be given the reward of Al-Jannah because of their patience. Can you imagine? Wallahi, this is enough. Or when you know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prays, can you imagine? Pray. You know prayer, salat. أولئك عليهم صلوات من ربهم ورحمة. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prays in his own way. for those who practice and exercise patience. Can you imagine? This is enough. وَلَا يُلَقَّاهَا إِلَّا الصَّابِرُونَ. So see what happened. فَخَسَفْنَا بِهِ وَبِدَارِهِ. He was not asked about his, there was no time for questioning or for even like a due process, as we call it today. فَخَسَفْنَا بِهِ, because he was given so many chances, as we said. فَخَسَفْنَا بِهِ وَبِدَارِهِ الْأَرْضِ. So like a mini earthquake happened only to take him and his place. Like his palace, whatever, I mean, like, and everything was gone. فَمَا كَانَ لَهُ مِنْ فِئَةٍ يَنْصُرُونَهُ مِنْ دُونِ اللَّهِ وَمَا كَانَ مِنَ الْمُنْتَصِرِينَ. So he was not, definitely was not victorious, and there was no one to come to his aid and make him victorious. See what, when the people saw that, they said, وَأَصْبَحَ الَّذِينَ تَمَنَّوْا مَكَانَهُ بِالْأَمْسِ يَقُولُونَ وَيْكَأَنَّ اللَّهَ يَبْسُطُ الرِّزْقَ لِمَنْ يَشَاءُ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ وَيَقْدِرُ. So even those who like in a moment of ghafla, in a moment of heedlessness, they said, okay, they wish that they have something like what he has, to be in his own shoes. تَمَنَّوْا مَكَانَهُ بِالْأَمْسِ. They start saying, oh, now they realize that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can give and not give according to his own plan.
There is a question, just
yes.
a question from one of our daughters here on the she's asking, what does patience mean in this sense, or what should exercising patience look like?
You see, again, the most important thing is not to make patience idle waiting. Don't I may be patient and sitting. This is not the sabr that Quran is talking about.
No.
Quran is talking being patient, okay, while doing your best to change your situation.
Yeah.
For example, I did not pass this course. Okay, I should not give up. I have to be patient and say, okay, something wrong happened here. I need to make changes. How to study and get help. Look for the people who can give me good advice. People who cares for me. Okay, it will be a game changer.
Mm-hmm.
And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward you by helping you to make that a change. And as I said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not put someone like that down. But we have to show our agency. We are the agent of a change, but doing it patiently, because the opposite of sabr is to give up, or to be to have the fear inside us that prevent us from going forward. In Quranic terminology, jaza'. You see, ajaza'na am sabarna. The opposite of sabr is jaza'. When we become so intimidated to the point that we do not really try again. You see, because this is a bigger problem. I mean, when you are facing something like some type of failure, okay, we may become intimidated that, oh, you are nothing. You don't deserve it. You are weak. You are whatever. Okay, so you see, this is jaza. No, sabr is really like to make determination and the discipline to absorb what happened, but act accordingly to make the change.
Can I say something?
Please.
I think the last what you said, you explained it beautifully. What the question was, if I understood that in Surah Furqan, the ayahs, from 62 all the way to 75,
yes.
Allah is talking about the person who is doing all the good things. So where does the sabr comes from?
Yeah,
and
because
what does the sabr mean? But what you said at the last, that it is the resistance. You get up early in the morning, you pray, you say the truth, and because of the truth, you might get a little, in the society, or against the zulm, you stand up. That resistance you take over upon yourself. That is because of that Allah is giving you the reward.
Yes, even I mean, I gave the example of failure because it is like very simple, like to see but even when you are doing good things, okay, and the right things, okay, so that it may require patience.
Exactly.
Okay, to continue doing it. Okay, and when it comes really like doing good deeds, sabr is really needed for the continuity of what you are really doing.
Exactly.
And remember, وَالْعَصْرِ إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. This is clear. وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ. تَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ about quality. Keep the quality high and always improve the quality. But وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ is about continuity. So quality and continuity. تواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر.
Because
so
sometimes
all these, go ahead.
Even if you are doing things, there is a time you say, let's give up because it's not working. Now, that's the time that you have to keep doing it.
Exactly.
That is the sabr.
Exactly, and improve the quality and keep the continuity.
Yes.
And that's how we are rewarded with by Allah. That's what He has promised us, that it will come.
Exactly.
One last thing, I think I know I have to catch a flight in a few.
Me too.
Oh, you did too. Yes. So I just wanted to kind of plug this. I just finished watching this TV show called Andor, Star Wars Andor.
Yeah.
I think you should watch. Everybody should be watching. It's not for entertainment, but for just lesson that people can learn from what resistance look like in the face of oppression.
Yeah,
it just shows.
It's called Andor. It's called
Andor. And Star Wars is on Max, but also should be available other places too. But it's an amazing show. Just to show us that you cannot give up. You have to keep fighting the good fight. It is just amazing. It's just so much knowledge that we can get from that show. Be patient.
Okay, good.
Keep your action together. I know.
Yeah.
I just wanted to
no,
let
this
you know.
is good. This is good. I mean, I like this recommendation. I mean, again, this is a good type of fun.
Yeah.
That is given a good direction. Okay.
Yeah.
So no problem. I mean, we all need a time for entertainment, but I mean, like how, and this is why I always say that we have to be very creative. Okay. And the same way these people are making the fun given this bad direction, we can have the same fun but given really the right direction, inshallah.
Yes, inshallah.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Jazakumullah.
We'll be off next week.
Yes, we'll resume inshallah on the 15th.
Inshallah.
Which is in 2 weeks from today, inshallah.
And Eid
Mubarak to all of you. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you and your families all the happiness and the joy. and health, inshallah.
Same to you. Brother Shakil?
Yes.
Would you please record Dr. Walid khutbah, because I'm out of town. I would like to.
I know, same here. I'm out of town. I'll ask Dr. Walid if I can recommend somebody record it for me so I can publish it after.
Yeah, I mean, ask Brother Khayr, most likely he will be there.
Yeah, he will be there, inshallah.
Inshallah.
I'll ask him, inshallah.
Okay. All right. Great.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi. Eid Mubarak to